Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games. Here today to take a look at Science Ninjas Valence by Nathan Schreiber. So Science Valence, on Board Game Geek, it's called Science Valence Plus, is a neat little game because it's just a little game here, but it's teaching you about elements in the periodic table of elements. It's teaching you about making different molecules out of different atoms, and all these things about atomic weight and different reactions and that different chemical compounds have with each other and molecules and stuff. It's got a lot going on for it. I mean, it's just amazing how much they're getting into this little box here. Besides which, it has in there, actually, let me just pull it out for you. If the box will open, there we go. It has in here, comes with the game, is a graphic novel preview. So I guess what they're doing is they're turning these Science Ninjas into a whole graphic novel series on its own, which is teaching about other things. And in here they also talk about things like, they have a thing here about teaching about physics. Science Ninjas, Big Trouble with Simple Machines. Almost sounds like Big Trouble in Little China, which is an awesome movie, Jared, by the way. My son doesn't like the movie. He's never watched it, but he doesn't like it. It's a good movie. But they've got this whole idea for this graphic novel series, which I think is pretty amazing. It's pretty cool. So the game goes beyond just this game. It seems like there's more going on here. I guess Nathan Schreiber has more ideas for this game than what's here right now. So I'd be curious to find out more about this and where it's going and what has been done already, etc. This game came out in 2017, I believe, so it's been out for a few years. So see if anything else more has come of it. The game, like I said, it's a simple card game, very quick and everything. I'll talk more about that during the report card. And because of the size of the game and everything, it's one that could definitely fit into a classroom setting very easily and be sort of a good introduction. But I'll talk more about that later. Let's get to that report card. So look at the report card for Science Ninjas Valence Plus. I'm going to give the number of players a B. It plays between 2 to 4 players, which is my B. That's my standard. And so it gets the B. So looking at the learning for Science Ninjas Valence Plus, I'm going to give the learning an A+. Not only does this game come with, links into graphic novels, which can be, sure, yes, it is science related, and the kids are going to see right through it. Well, this is just a science graphic novel. Yeah, it's a science graphic novel. Would you rather read a science graphic novel or a boring textbook? So it gives that link into those kinds of things. It introduces characters. I mean, sure, it's very educational, but again, it's better than a boring old textbook. But the game itself has a lot of things going on in there which make it the learning just really amazing. I mean, for starters, let's just talk about the fact that, there are 118 elements in the periodic table of elements. And yes, I did look that up for this video. This one only teaches 12. There's only 12 different elements in this game. And so, I mean, that's a little more than 1/12 of the whole periodic table of elements. But I mean, come on. I mean, look at the size of this game. You can't really expect this to be teaching the whole periodic table of elements. But what it's doing, though, is it's giving you an excellent foundation, a launching point, if you will, for the teachers to be able to use this point to teach the kids and get them a really good understanding of what these things are doing and what's happening within these elements, the molecules and the things coming together, and then being able to build on that. Once they understand that, then build on that and go beyond. To try and just cram everything in for the sake of cramming everything in, like, what's the point? It's just memorization, trivia, facts, and just like without really deepening understanding. This is going to provide that deeper understanding because it's things happening within the game. You're doing it as game mechanics, but you're also doing it because it's science. It's the science of what's happening. One example is the same kind of thing which was happening in Ionic Compound Building game. If you haven't watched that video I've done, great game from Genius Games, and similar idea to this one. You should go check out that video. But you have in here positive and negative ions for the different elements, and so you need to make sure whenever you're building a molecule that you have a positive and negative balance, so that the total sum of the ions equals 0, and it has the numbers on the cards. So I remember in playing the game, I was looking at it like, okay, I got this. Okay, look, oh, I could put these 3 cards together, +1, or -1, +2, or whatever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but the fact is that I had 2 -1s, 1 +2, put them together, and it had to be 2 -1s, 1 +2, because then it was like oxygen. I look, okay, I have hydrogen, and oxygen. Oh, hey, I'm looking, I'm like, makes water, like, duh, of course. H2O, of course that makes water. But just, again, reinforcing these kinds of things, and understanding again about those different elements of the ions and things. That was an obvious one, but other things are coming together that I didn't know. Now, cool thing is too, is that on the back of these cards here, so you have these cards which have, like, here's metal oxide, and the game is so easy because it just has these colors that you're matching. So for the colors, you have, to get a metal oxide, you need gray and you need yellow. And they have the cards color coordinated so that you know that yellow is oxygen. All the yellow cards are oxygen. You've got an oxygen card at the top here. So the yellow card for oxygen, it shows the atoms there. It shows the spaces which are needed for the bond. And it shows that, okay, so it's a -2 then, rather than, sorry, I guess the hydrogens are positive ones. But so the oxygen is yellow. So for this one, I need yellow and I need gray. So the grays can be calcium, sodium, or potassium. And when you mix those together, on the back of the card, it gives you a lot of information in terms of, like, if you have calcium and oxygen, it's calcium oxide. If you have potassium and oxygen, it's potassium oxide. Sodium and potassium and oxygen is sodium potassium oxide. And so if you want to add that extra level of challenge to the students, you can have them name those things. There's rules in there for that. There's rules for cooperative play. So I mean, there's just a lot going on here. Like I said, while this is not a comprehensive instruction of all things in the periodic table of elements, it is an excellent launching point into that instruction. So you take this, what this thing is teaching, and you move that forward into the instruction, and you build on that knowledge through your own pedagogy, through your own teaching, and then the kids will have the base understanding of this. If this kind of game was available when I was in high school, then yeah, you know what? Maybe I would have certainly have reconsidered taking a chemistry class, because when I, just too much textbooks and things with no real sort of, it was meaningless to me. It just didn't make any sense, so I didn't take it. Anyway, this, as I say, provides a lot of great groundwork for a good teacher. So looking at fun for the game, I'm going to give it a B, with a caveat. And the caveat is that I've only played it as a 2-player game. I think this game would be better with more. It's like it plays between 2 to 4 players, and I think even if I had a 3rd player, when you're playing 2 players and it's just sort of you're only looking out for one other person, and there's only one take that, and sometimes you're just taking, turn after turn, you're just trying to pull up cards to get the cards you need, and the other person's like, oh look, I got this, oh hey, I won. And in the first game, my opponent won very quickly, and I think I had like 1 point, and there's up to 10 points. So they got their 10 points very quickly, and I was just like, I can't do anything about it. Whereas in the second game, there's a bit more back and forth, because there's ways when they have different molecules put up that you can react with them by adding a base, by adding an acid, by adding water to their molecule and breaking apart and giving them less points and things. But it's, again, with 2 players, it's just you only have one person to look at and watch out for. If there's more players and more players interacting with each other, I think then it would make it more interesting. So I haven't experienced that yet. So like I say, B for now. Might be a little more fun with more players. But I think also just considering the fact that you're taking such dry, boring material as like all this stuff about learning the periodic table of elements and ions and things like that, and turning into a game which is actually kind of fun, is amazing. So yeah, still, it's a B. For time, I'm going to give the game an A. The game plays between 15 to 25 minutes, and like I said, I think that is I think that's a bit higher than I would have thought. When I played those 2-player games, we were done in like 5-10 minutes. I mean, a little bit of time for setup and cleanup and everything, but not 15 minutes. No. So yeah, it's a very quick game. Certainly one you're going to be able to play in a class period if you want to do that. And maybe if you had somebody set up in centers and things, kids could be playing in there. Easily could be playing. And again, just getting the kids interested, letting them have fun, letting them be learning as they're playing, and it's just going to be time well spent. For cost, I'm going to give it a question mark. Right now, this game, I'm trying to find people who carry it in their stores, for local distributors, things like that. Any local game stores that have it. If you can find this, like, I'm thinking maybe some games with more specialty, like Mastermind Toys or something. Some of those things might have it. If you can find it, then great. I think it's definitely one that's well worth it. But I can't really speak to the cost right now because unable to find it in local stores. So do your best to see what you can do, because finding it locally and support your local retailers, and I think it's a game well worth it. And Nathan Schreiber, if you want to tell me of any places that you know of, any local stores or distributors who have it, and then maybe I can let my local game stores know to get it in, that'd be fantastic. All right, let me take this game to the table and I will show you how it's played. So this is your basic setup for Science Ninja's Valence. You put out here your molecule bank with these cards here, and these are going to be where you're scoring your points. The points are at the top here, showing how many points you score for each, and the first person to 10 points is going to win. Now the acid has 0 points, but it does have effects on some of the other cards, so the acid can be worthwhile. So each player gets 6 cards, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there I am, I'm all set up for a 2-player game now. In the game, you are looking at, each player is going to look at their cards. So these are your element cards. They have all the different elements from the periodic table of elements. Like I said, there's only 12 of them, but it gives you a good start. You're looking at the atomic weight. So the atomic weight is the number down here. Whoever has the highest atomic weight is going to be the first player. So 1, 8, 11, 11, 11, 9. So this player is the first player because they have an atomic weight of 20. Now, at the start of your turn, what you're doing is if you have more than 2 cards, you draw 1 card. So they're going to draw 1 card. Now, here's the cards that they have. Now, again, you're not supposed to know, like, oh, well, I can mix these things and it's going to create that. In playing, what you're doing really is you're looking at just trying to create a 0 somehow. So if I take +2, -2, I create a 0. I have +1, -1. So you're looking at what will that, so then you start to think of strategically, okay, I have a +2 and a -2. What does that create? So that's the gray and the yellow. So I have gray and yellow, and that creates a metal oxide because I have gray and I have yellow. And I can look on the back just to make sure, and it says I can add calcium and oxygen, and that's exactly what I put together here, was calcium and oxygen. So that's going to create my metal oxide. For 3 points, that's a pretty good deal. So I'm going to discard those 2 cards, and I'm going to create my metal oxide. And then I have here, I have +1, -1. Actually, look at that, I can create 3 different things. So I could take my +1, -1 here, and I can take those 2. Gray and red makes a salt. So I put my salt down here with 1 point, and then I have 2 hydrogens and an oxygen, which is going to create my H2O, which is my water, which is 1 point. Now the water is something that can react, and they'll tell you at the bottom of each card if it's going to be able to react with something. So this one here says that water, discard water to react with opponent's deadly carbonyl. Take a random element card from the opponent if the opponent has no element cards. So it just yeah. So now you're just taking a card away from the opponent, which doesn't sound great because the deadly carbonyl is worth 5 points. Now it says here too. So it says here if the opponent reacts water with your deadly carbonyl, then exchange this for a carbon dioxide and an acid molecule. So if they put water on this, then you're getting carbon dioxide and water. So you're going down 1 point to 4. So it's just, again, one of those ways that you can mess with your opponent's score and stuff like that. So now the salt has an ability that you can discard the salt to trade up and draw 2 new element cards. So they're going to do that right away. Because this player is starting with no cards, so they have now. They're just going to drop 2 more cards. You know what? Maybe they can get something else out of it. So +1/+1. No, we know that's not going to create anything because it's creating +2. It has to have a net value of 0. So right away, you just know that's not going to create anything. So this player is now going, and they have these things here. So they have all of these. So now this player has a metal oxide. So it says vulnerable to acid attack. If an opponent reacts acid with your metal oxide, exchange the metal oxide for a water and a salt molecule and skip the draw phase of your next turn. Yeah, so whenever a player reacts with one of your molecules, you have to skip your next turn for drawing. So yeah, they're definitely going to do that. They're going to play these 2, and the red and the blue, so the hydrogen chloride, okay, hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid, hydrogen, and chlorine. Yeah. So yeah, see, even I know that. And again, it gives you all this information on the back here, pH charts, everything like that. So it gives you a lot of information on the back too. But I get my acid card, and immediately I'm playing that on. I'm going to be playing that for sure on the metal oxide there. And then I can do my sodium and my chlorine for my sodium chloride for my salt. And I get a salt, and this isn't going to be able to create anything, but I will discard my salt back again for 2 more cards. And now I can get you know what? I can get 1 more salt. You can do 1 salt a turn. I'm going to hold on to it though, because if I get one more fluorine here, I can make 2. I can make a balance here with these ones, and I can get a deadly carbonyl, which is worth 5 points. All right. So I'm going to hold on to those cards. I will take my acid. I'm going to spray this metal oxide, so the metal oxide goes back, and it says they get a water and a salt molecule. So that really hurts. They went from 3 points down to 2. Well, I guess it's not really hurts. They're only getting. They went down 1 point, but the salt is again one of those things that you just use to get more cards and things. It's not really that great. Now they're not allowed to draw up here, but so they have these 2, which isn't any help. So they could just pass their turn. Now, while they're not allowed to draw cards from the deck, they are allowed to use their salt to get 2 more cards. So they can do that still. Okay, and now here comes the helium card. So the helium card, what happens is they can play the helium card. They're getting 2 points for it, and then they're switching cards with the player on their left. In this case, with only 2 players, it goes around that way. So now this player looks at what they've got, and they have +2, -2. So can they make something with gray, blue, and yellow? Yes, they can make a base. Make a base. So that's 4, and it's vulnerable to acid attack. Okay, so again, they can be done with an acid, but I mean, might as well go for it while you can. So they've got those 4. They've got their base, and it goes there. This player now. Okay. If at any point they say, you know what, I really want, maybe they see that we have the base here, and they say, you know what, you sprayed acid on me, I'm going to spray acid on you. Instead of drawing cards from here, now if you have 2 or more cards, you can draw 1 card from the top of your deck. If you have no cards in your hand, you can draw 3 cards from the deck. And if you have only 1 card, you can draw 2 cards. So the idea is that you're always drawing up to 3, or if you already have more than 3, then you can always draw 1 more. You can also, instead of drawing 1 card, if you're drawing 1 card, you can always draw just that 1 card from here. So they're going to do that. They're going to take the hydrogen, and maybe it was silly for this player to put the hydrogen on top, because they're taking the hydrogen and the fluorine now. They're getting the acid, and they're spraying the acid on our base, and then the base gets destroyed, and what happens to it, it's turned into a water and a salt. Okay, so it turns into a water and a salt. So in that case, we lost 2 points for that one. So it goes back and forth, like I said. So with more players, it's going to be more interesting because you're going to have more reactions and things happening all over the place. You're not just watching out for one other person, you're watching out for 2 or even 3 other people, and they're watching out for you too. So it's going to be more back and forth, and take that and just looking at these reactions that happen with these different chemicals and elements. And so the first person who makes it up to 10 points is declared the winner. And that is how you play Science Ninjas Valence. So Valence is, as I say, it's a great little game. I mean, for this little tiny box and how much learning and things that go on to it. And what I see in it too is potential. Potential not only for the learning that can occur from this game, but potential for future expansions, potential for more to be added to this, for the graphic novels, for just building on this. You know, talk about foundation. I talked about this as a launching point for instruction. This is also a launching point for more games. This is a launching point for more things to be added to this to allow for more knowledge to be developed through the play of the game. I am not by any stretch of the imagination a chemistry teacher. I would not be able to, well, I would have to do a lot of preparation and research and relearning myself, not relearning, but learning myself in order to be able to teach this stuff. So I don't know how much more could be done for this or whatever, but I would be very curious to find out. Nathan Schreiber, if you're open for an interview, then please let me know in the comment section below. Love to talk to you more about this game and your plans for it and everything like that. I just think that there's this, like I said, I think this game is fantastic. I think there's a lot going on for this, and I think this is the kind of thing that more teachers need to be using in their classroom, for especially for these very heavy topics like these science topics of like periodic table of elements, which for most of us, like, I don't know about, my eyes would glaze over trying to read a textbook about this kind of stuff. I would not be able to learn it that way, and to listen to a teacher explaining it would still not get it to me. I need other ways. I'm more of a kinesthetic learner, and so this way it's a very kinesthetic way to approach the learning, because you're manipulating things, you're adding elements together to create different things, you're going for different goals, you're building understanding, and as I say, teachers can add those extra levels of difficulty. Not to mention, I didn't even mention the fact that there is cooperative play in here as well, and beginners play. There's different modes of play as well too, so things I'll leave you to explore when you get your own copy of the game. But like, just a lot going on. Like I say, for a little box, for a little game, it's got a lot going on, and it's one that I highly recommend. So if you're new to the channel, then what I'm doing is I'm putting out content on a weekly basis around topics of gamification, game-based learning. I review games such as Science Ninjas Valence, to talk about how to use them in classrooms and how we can improve our pedagogy as teachers, as parents, as instructors, as childcare workers, as educating ourselves, whoever it is that we want to educate. The games are such a wonderful and amazing tool to be able to do that, because it's a wonderful, motivating way to be able to do that. This is a way that I wish I'd learned more when I was young. Now, as a teacher with the Peel District School Board of over 20 years, I use games as much as I can in my own classroom, and I'm just trying to share that knowledge I have with other teachers. If this sounds good to you, then please do remember to hit like and subscribe down below, even that little bell icon to remind you when I'm putting out new content, which, like I said, is on a weekly basis, sometimes even more. And if you have any ideas for things you might like to see on the channel, whether it be games, whether it be topics of discussion, whether it be books you want me to review, or interviews you'd like me to hold with a particular person, then again, leave me that message in the comment section below. I do love to hear from the viewers, because it really gives me that focus and the direction as to what kind of content is going to be relevant and meaningful to you. And that is going to wrap it up for today. My name is Craig Thompson Wood, your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school?